Hey guys, it's Holly. So today we're going to have a look at the brand new 2021 Wanda Maximoff figure slash Scarlet Witch. I mean, she's technically not Scarlet Witch at this point, but you know, that's Marvel's problem. But when this figure came out, there was a lot of disappointment just over the figure design in general. The lack of leg printing, the lack of a skirt piece, her facial design looking way too happy for someone who's just lost absolutely everything. And also the color of her hair, because while Wanda did start off as a brunette, over time she transitioned into very clearly a ginger, and I feel like in Endgame it wasn't quite as ginger as it was in WandaVision, but it was definitely not brown. And I definitely know, just looking at this hairpiece, that LEGO did that because they could reuse Hermione Granger's hairpiece, because the style works really well for Wanda, but just the color, it doesn't really suit. And then when you look back at the Wanda Maximoff figure we got in Age of Ultron, the figure is a massive step up. I mean, besides, again, the hair probably not being as accurate as it could be, this figure had lead printing, a beautiful torso, and a really nice face, which was reused for Supergirl, but her eyebrows matched and it suited the tone of her character a lot more. So today, I thought we'd kind of have a look at some little ways that we can kind of improve Scarlet Witch. Now, first up, I think the thing would make the biggest difference is just having that skirt piece. If you kind of take off all of her Power Blast pieces, you'll see that her outfit is kind of plain. However, that skirt piece was only in the airport battle from Civil War sets, and that piece is very expensive, as is the figure. So I know for myself and a lot of other people, that's a lot of money unless you kind of want to make your own skirt piece with some fabric or some card. I'm just going to skip out on that, as much as I wish she did have kind of those coattails pieces. It's very expensive to do that, so I want to look at some more kind of cost-friendly options. Now with Wanda, a big thing for me is definitely her face print, so I've kind of come up with two alternatives. The first being actually the same head that they used back in the Age of Ultron sets, which was the same as Supergirl, so it did have quite a few reiterations. The big advantage here is she doesn't look quite as happy. She doesn't have a full grin. Also, her eyebrows match a lot better, and then when you turn it around, because it is a Scarlet Witch Supergirl piece, she has those angry eyes and an even more angrier mouth than this figure's alternate face, which I just think works so much better. Like here, she kind of looks like she's maniacally smiling, like she's kind of doing something evil and taking enjoyment out of it almost, rather than pain and suffering, which I feel like suits Wanda's character a lot better. So there's how that change looks, and even with her brown hair here, it matches a lot better. But the main reason, like I said, I want it is just for this alternate face, because it suits her character and her character's journey and character kind of arc and building so much better here. She actually looks like she does want to avenge her loved one's death, which I feel like is such a big part of her story and her character, and this face just tells all of that so much better. Another face option you could do is actually take the Black Canary head from the LEGO Batman movie figure, as she does look quite unimpressed, but more importantly, her opposing face is actually screaming, which we all kind of remember this scene from WandaVision episode 8. She's grieving. There's a lot of pain, a lot of emotion, so I feel like that one could work as well. However, I feel like its mouth is kind of a bit too cartoony and maybe a bit too just like screaming and grumpy, less kind of angry, but that's another option for you guys too. But like I said, one of the biggest issues comes down to the hair color. So I definitely don't think a full orange hair piece and full ginger would be right in this case, at least in my personal opinion. And unfortunately, that hair piece doesn't exist in this color. I think if it did, they definitely would have used it here. I just think they didn't want to recolor it. So then it kind of brings me back to the hair piece that they used back in the Civil War sets, which is this one here, the long kind of curly wavy one. And this color is the same as Elizabeth Swann, and I think it has appeared in a few other sets since then, and I feel like this kind of represents that sort of gingery, transition-y color that she kind of goes through. So that's the next change I want to make. Now with this, it does kind of ruin the point of the eyebrows, but even then, like with lighter hair and darker eyebrows, that's typically a thing that happens, so I don't think it looks kind of as awkward. It doesn't have kind of the same magic and flow, I guess, as the other hairpiece, but the color here is so much more accurate. And even though this one doesn't have a skirt piece, and I think if you do have that skirt piece or want to make your own, please add this to that figure. It's going to make it look even better. But just right here, this screams Wanda Maximoff so much more than just the figure itself. And especially with this hairpiece, like I feel like just put that on with the new head that you're gonna give her if you really want to, and I think you'd still have a good figure, especially because this piece already exists. It's not like it needs to be recolored or anything like that, or a new design. It's such a shame that LEGO didn't use this. I get that the actual hairstyle probably isn't as accurate for this version of Wanda, but just overall it looks so much more like her. I would much rather an accurate color, I guess, rather than an accurate hairstyle in this instance here. So there is the completed Wanda figure. I guess another thing you could maybe do is give her dark red legs that are dual molded with black boots. I don't know if those exist. I don't think they do, but that could be another option there. But once again, just a skirt piece I feel like would work really well. But for me, I feel like I'm just gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna order another one of these hair pieces and try and get another one of these faces so that I can leave it in that angry position, because this just looks so much more accurate in my opinion, especially just the hair alone, I feel like. Which if you do just want to swap out the hair, here is how it looks with her new face. As you can see, the eyebrows match a lot better here than they do on that old face, just because it is blonde. And like I said in my review of the final battle set, I feel like that's because once again they're going to reuse this head for Supergirl. Like that just makes a lot more sense as to why she'd be smiling ear to ear here, because this to me just does not scream Wanda Maximoff, that face. But definitely I think the hair looks a lot better. It's still pretty accurate as well to Elizabeth Olsen in the movies. I don't think it's that far off, especially with the length, the fact that it's curled. It's just the fact that it's kind of over her shoulders and less kind of voluminous at the back and all of that. But overall this makes such a huge improvement on the figure. And just to kind of show off the Black Canary screaming face, here she is there, which I feel like is very accurate for her kind of WandaVision appearance. Ideally, this one would be a lot more of a ginger hair piece, but even then, it just shows the rage and anger and passion, I guess, that this character has, which still, once again, looks really good. I guess it's just a bit too cartoony for my liking here. And then here is that face with the hairpiece from the set, which definitely this version here with this combo doesn't look like Wanda. I think the other one looks a lot better, but even just her kind of regular resting face, I feel like is a lot closer than the one they gave her, with no matter kind of what hairpiece you use there. But I thought I'd just show you that just for fun, in case you do have this head lying around and wanted to see what it looks like all swapped out. So there is my purest custom fixed version of Wanda. I definitely think this looks a lot more like the character, and considering Wanda is one of my favorite Avengers and one of my favorite MCU characters, it was such a shame to see this version of the figure not appear in the sets. Like, I think the figure could have been so much better. I know that it would have meant recoloring. I get that it was cheaper for LEGO to reuse a lot of these pieces, but for someone as popular as Wanda, like, look at the success of WandaVision right now. Like, this character deserved so much more, and they knew that those shows were coming up. People have seen kind of how beloved she is in the comics and TV and movies and all that. She deserves so much better, so I'm glad that I could kind of bring her a bit more justice with this figure. It's just such a shame to look back at that 2014 one and know that there was more detail and kind of time, effort, and care, I guess, put in with that figure than there is these days, which unfortunately I actually feel like is a thing just straight up across the board with all Marvel characters and sets. Like, the lack of leg printing you get these days in Marvel sets is so disappointing. Kind of speaking of the final battle set as well, like, I really want to swap out my Steve Rogers legs to the ones that are dark blue and dark brown, so it looks like he's got boots on, kind of those dual molded ones. I'm planning on doing that too, but I feel like that one doesn't really need its whole video like Wanda did, because this change just looks so much better. But let me know what you guys think, and even if you have any suggestions of what to do about her coattails piece besides getting that little fabric skirt, are there any legs you can think of? Are there any other faces even, or hairstyles that you feel like would work really good for Wanda? And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time guys, I'll see you later.